Bro, I have actives. Can I catch him on fire? Like, fuck. Oh my fucking god. What the? I had 0 reaction time. Bruh. AI soldier, what the fuck? Wow, dude. Oh, you fucking bullshit. What? What the yo? Bruh. That needs fixed. What the fuck, bro? What the? This flamethrower. You. Oh my god. Yo! This self-harm bullshit on the flamethrower? Garbage. Garbage. Complete garbage. And the fact that, like, you don't drop your weapons, so you have to fucking buy them each time. You fuck. Bruh, you drop your weapons in escape mode, why can't you drop your weapons in Horde? Bruh! See, that's why we should never have to deal with sky threats. There should be 0 flying enemies in the game. 0. There should be 0. Do you hear that, Coalition? There should be 0. 0, 0, 0 flying enemies. Hey, what is going on, all my fellow godlies and Gears of War enthusiasts around the world? Oh, golly, does it feel so refreshing to be saying that line. After covering Warframe for, you know, a good, I want to say 6 years, it's a breath of fresh air to be moved on to a franchise that I fell in love with before I even discovered Warframe, and a franchise I strongly feel will probably appreciate me a lot more than the last one did. So, like we are trending already, we're gonna move on with the next video. But before I do that, I wanted to ask if you guys remembered this. The next set of classes that I'm probably gonna do is Fisticuffs, which is just overall melee. Yeah, so I kind of regret saying that because I feel like it gave you false hope that I was going to cover all of the melee classes in one video. And after a lot of deliberation, I decided that I am not going to do that because, well, specifically, there are classes that I can handle in a cluster video, which I plan to tackle probably next. But for the immediate class that I want to cover today, we are talking about the Brawler, as the title suggests. I chose to cover this class by itself because it is so unique, and it does a lot of things that other classes just don't do. For one, I would name this class the #1, hands down, the #1 best overall class for escape mode. This class is insane in escape mode. I mean, if you can close the distance on your enemies, it's pretty much game, set, and match. It is really, really powerful, and so that's why I'm going to walk you through how to play this class and what you want to build for. So let's just jump straight into it. First of all, I want to cover Horde, because I feel like Horde is the most popular mode. I feel like Escape is new to the Gears of War franchise, and therefore it's not fully polished, whereas Horde has been around for a long time. People know how to play it. People love playing Horde. So right away, I want you to grab the Play with Fire mod. And this is important for both Horde and Escape because it ensures that your active reloads are going to set your enemies on fire whenever you're shooting them. Now, I would stress something with a caveat here. If you're for sure going to be playing with a flamethrower, overall just the flamethrower and nothing but the flamethrower, then you could probably replace this mod for something else. But I keep this mod on here specifically because I always have the flamethrower on me at all times, but I also use my Lancer to shoot things from a distance. So, and I would say that I'm an overall builder. I like to build for good defense, good offense, good distance, good close range. I like to have all of my bases covered, and even if you have a marksman in your party, man, it is really helpful to just set enemies on fire, get those extra points of DPS in, and make it so the marksman will one-shot pretty much anything. Now, a marksman will still have to hit headshots regardless, but for some enemies like Scions, you know, the difference between having them set on fire or not could mean that your marksman will take a one shot instead of 2 shots, which is what it usually takes for me when I play my marksman class. So that's why this mod is important. If I were to replace it with anything, I'm not sure what I would use. Probably defensive tackle. And that's assuming that I'm going to be playing super aggressive, which you probably should not do in Horde. It goes without saying, and I may release a video later on explaining how you want to play Horde and Escape, do's and don'ts. I would think that it would be obvious by now, since, you know, everybody's familiar with this franchise, but I still see people making critical errors, like trying to play classes the way they're not intended to play. Do you know how many times I see a Jack player that's running around shocking enemies and killing things? Dude, Jack is under the class of support. So I have no idea why Jack players play like that. They should hang back and revive, never leave the base unless they're putting items in the forge. I mean, but that's a different topic for a different video. For today, we're gonna focus on Brawler and how you want to play him. Brawler, like I said, Brawler is very, very aggressive, but you want to change up the way that you're going to play in Horde. You can still be aggressive, but you have to be a safe, methodical aggressive. You have to really analyze the battlefield and get in your offense wherever you can. One thing I want to say about the flamethrower in this game is that it is so strong. I skipped Gears of War 4. But when I played it in Gears of War 3, it wasn't... I don't remember the flamethrower ever being this powerful. I certainly don't remember it being this powerful in Gears of War 2. It is hella strong, especially in the hands of the Brawler, using one of these mods named the Pyromaniac. You deal 90% extra damage. And this doesn't even account for the Scorcher Mastery, which is 40% extra Scorcher damage. Like, these two mods together... Forget about it, man. You are going to be doing an absurd amount of damage. This is great for handling Matriarchs and Wardens, Scions, Snatchers. You're really going to drop anything quick if you can close the distance. If you can not worry about incoming fire and just concentrate all your DPS in one area, boy, you are going to lay waste to your enemies, but you really got to close the distance. So the way I would play Brawler is I would play a strong base defense. I would hang out and patrol your area where you have your fabricator and just keep things set on fire. Keep that base locked down. That way, if you do have something like a Warden or a Matriarch, you can keep it busy. Or you can even just kill it. That way your other teammates don't have to worry about it, because your other teammates are usually going to be playing veterans and combat medics, marksmen. They are classes that can handle things at medium to long range distances, or even sometimes close range depending upon the class. But Brawler is the main one for close range, and I think that the best team to form is someone who's good at close range, someone who's good at long range, someone who is putting down fortifications and repairing them. You want to have everything in here. You want to have assault and support and tanks. If you have a healthy blend and you have people who know how to play their classes, in most cases you're going to be relatively successful. It's only in master difficulty that you run into a lot of problems, especially with bugs and things that just aren't supposed to happen in this game. But so all the glory is for burning enemies to explode upon death. It goes without saying that whenever they explode, they're going to do splash damage and they're going to affect enemies around them. So if you happen to just slam into a mosh pit of enemies, well, they're all going to take splash damage from that, and I think in most cases it should render them vulnerable to attack, because then they'll flinch, and when they flinch, then you have a moment to roll backward and then, you know, tackle them again. So I haven't explained it just yet, but in an escape mode, you want to tackle things, and then you want to roll backward, start your dash again, and then tackle, rinse, and repeat. You never, ever want to commit to standing in one place at a time. So let's say you're tackling a Scion. If you hit the Scion with a tackle, the Scion's immediately going to take a swipe at you. And timing is everything with the Brawler. You really need to get out of the way. If you throw a tackle, jump in any direction out of the way immediately after throwing that tackle. Then hold your rush button again and rush towards the Scion, tackle them again. Keep tackling until you've blown them into a million pieces. And once you do that, you will get a stem shield. And that stem shield is really going to make you pretty tanky in either Horde or Escape. And this is where we talk about, you know, Torch Tackle, which is the 5th and final mod that you'll use for the Horde setup. Torch Tackle burns and deals 250% damage to burning enemies. So this pairs really nicely with Play with Fire, but if you're not using that, you should take note of the fact that the tackle itself is going to set enemies on fire. So if you hit them once and it doesn't quite kill them, it's going to set them on fire. Then when you hit them a second time, it's going to do even more damage because of this mod. I would recommend always setting something on fire before you go in for the tackle. But, you know, it's Horde, so sometimes it's in a stressful situation and you have no choice but to do the tackle. But in any case, it's still a good idea to just hit them with the tackle, roll backward, rinse and repeat, like I said. Escape mode isn't going to play a whole lot different other than the fact that you're going to be very aggressive. It pays to be so aggressive with Brawler. I wouldn't say so aggressive that you're a mile ahead of your teammates. You want to be very cautious of where your teammates are at, because if you get too much distance between the two of you, or the three of you, then it'll be harder to revive them, and you're really going to render yourself vulnerable trying to do that. You can run around destroying the entire map if you're a good Brawler, but it isn't going to mean anything if you go down trying to revive your teammates. Escape mode is very difficult, which is why it's not as popular as Horde. It's only 3-player co-op. That part I don't understand. It doesn't allow Jack players to play as Jack. That's another thing I don't understand. You can play in campaign as Jack, but you can't play in Escape. I really want Escape mode to be more like the campaign. I would love to see some scripted events happen. I would like to have Escape have a bit of a more story to it. But I can't complain a lot, because I'm pretty good at Escape now, and it's fun. Once you start mastering these classes, you get them maxed out, and your mods are up to snuff. Boy, can you have fun with Escape mode. But I've got to say, for anybody who's entering this game mode, and you have daily challenges, weekly challenges for Escape, I don't know why there's not a weekly challenge for Horde, but I digress. Never, and I repeat, never enter an inconceivable lobby with a class that's under the level of 10. I would always recommend being 12 or 13 with your class's level before you even attempt an inconceivable lobby. And another thing, if you jump into a lobby and you fail once or twice, stop fucking leaving. This community is the most toxic community I've seen in any game, period. They get into a game and they get their asses whipped and they leave. It's bullshit, and that hinders your entire team, because it's not like, so if I'm doing matchmaking, it's not like it's gonna put me into a game that's ongoing. Therefore, if you leave just because you lost, you're making it so everybody else has to back out and do the same. They have to back out and go back into matchmaking. Listen, loading screens are painful to deal with. It's a phenomenal waste of time. People start out AFK most of the time, just waiting to get into a lobby. Don't make this game any more toxic than it has to be. Just know your class and how to play them. Take your time with the other difficulties. I know, as a Gears of War veteran, you just want to get in there and load up the hardest difficulty because you know that you have the skill to do so. Well, guess what? Gears of War 5 is different. It doesn't matter if you're the best player on the planet. If you are a level 1, you are going to get destroyed. You have 0% chance of survival, alright? It's important that you understand that. Your skill means nothing if you do not have good mods and a tough class. So this is one of those games that definitively needs good skill and a good build. So even if you put all of these mods on your class and you level them up, that doesn't mean that you're going to be good and you're going to be successful at this game. You also have to build on your skill. So I would play some versus. I would play all of the modes that you can if you enjoy this game, because that's the only way you're going to progress, and that's the only way that you're going to be successful and have fun. Like I said, you can play the other difficulties. There's no shame in people playing beginner and just having fun with the game and not taking it seriously, but obviously this channel is not one of those channels that shows you how to play beginner proficiently. I'm going to show you how to play master and really get the most out of your class. So with Escape, I'm building a little bit different. I have all the glory, which is burning enemies explode on killing. Well, I already have that in Horde. But what I am doing is defensive tackle. So this gives you 60% stim on tackle kill. You will get a stim on tackle regardless, I believe, after you've killed something. But it really helps when you put this mod on here, because it's going to make you really tanky. You'll be able to take quite a beating. Torch tackle is still here. Play with fire is still here. Pyromaniac is still here. These are all staples. That's really the only thing that I changed, honestly. And there's quite a few mods in here that you could replace, but I wouldn't recommend it. You're not gonna find a flamethrower in escape mode. You're not even gonna find an area in which you can buy a flamethrower, which is why I wanted to state that I think that it's important, at least in Horde mode, to be able to change these loadouts. Because if you look at this, right, if you go down the Brawler skill tree and you see that, their signature weapon is the flamethrower, I don't know why you wouldn't start out with a flamethrower. It makes you have to waste your money, your power, in the fabricator, when you could be using that to perk up, or alternatively, give your power to your teammates to build fortifications, because so many hosts are going to require that. They like this community really wants you to put power into the fabricator, and I've got to say, yeah, that works, but it's also way more efficient for some of these classes to just get their perks, because if you give a tactician their perks, the faster they get. Tactician and Gunner, I think, are the most important classes in the game to get their perks immediately. Because the sooner they get their perks, the sooner they can just start cleaning up the entire map. The sooner they can just start wiping out the entire map. And I feel like a lot of hosts, they just demand that you put power into the fabricator, and that's asinine. I would strongly recommend that you focus a lot of your time on your perks, but also donate whatever you can to the fabricator, because it is tough being an engineer, and I strongly feel as though Coalition needs to buff being an engineer. You need to, like, those classes definitively need to get more power. That way they alleviate the pressure that the community puts on itself. You can have hosts that host game that aren't really concerned with how much power is going in the fabricator. That way you can focus more time on perks. Listen, I get it all the time. There's a lot of people that say, oh, you don't want this game to be hard, and that's true. I don't want it to be hard. I want it to be challenging. I love a good challenge, but there's a lot of things that it's just not a challenge. It's annoying. It takes time. It takes too much maintenance. There's too much busy work with Horde. And I think that's why I favor Escape a little bit more, is because there's no maintenance involved. It's just teamwork. It's just cooperation and being aware and common sense, which a lot of people don't have. A lot of people do not have common sense, and they don't play nicely with everybody else. They don't listen to advice. They don't watch chat. It's oh my god, like I said, this is the most toxic community I've ever witnessed in my life. The quit rate is way up there. People are just so sloppy and skillless that they get in there, they get crushed, and then they quit immediately. Oh my god, to me that's the most annoying thing in the world. Why would you even play an escape mode on the hardest difficulty with a lower level class, get your shit kicked in, and then leave? It doesn't make any sense to me. So that shouldn't be, like, if you're getting into this game for the first time, Brawler is an amazing class to start with. It's one of the easiest classes to play. It's not hard to get down the mechanic, and that's one thing that I will say about the Brawler, is that it's definitively different than all the other classes. It has a different melee. Instead of throwing the standard punches, because you click melee, and then you hold melee, and after you connect with the hold melee, for all of the enemies that you can execute, well, not so much Sires. Sires won't get stun locked. But if you're hitting a drone and you get the full combo in, or even if you just land in the last hold melee attack, you will render them open to execution. And that is incredibly useful for classes like Nomad and Veteran. But Brawler's not going to get that. Brawler doesn't have any of that. If you press the melee, he really takes like a good length of time to wind up and throw a strong haymaker. It's even in the title of the function, and he throws like a falcon punch. I'm not even kidding. It's not worth doing. The cooperative partner who helps me level up my classes most of the time, I have to constantly remind him, stop throwing haymakers. It's one of the most it's not useless because it's ineffective. It's useless because it takes too much time. The animation takes too long. You will get hit or you will get shot before you can finish. Don't waste your time with that melee. Always go with the tackle. 100% of the time, always go with the tackle. Don't even waste your time on the haymaker. If you're in Horde, it's a little bit different story. If you have an enemy that's directly in front of you, and it's less likely to hit you with a melee, and there's not a whole lot of incoming fire, then it's okay to give a haymaker. It's just as long as you don't put yourself at risk. You are a heavy hitting class. You cannot afford to put yourself at risk, because it's not easy for your other teammates to come rescue you. You are the class that goes to rescue. So if someone's down across the map, it's easier for you to actually go rescue them than it is for them to come rescue you. So do not put yourself at risk. Always stay close to your base. Always stay close to the fabricator. That's something that you want to do regardless of what class you are in Horde. So stay close to the fabricator. Patrol anything that's within melee range. tackle the shit out of them. Avoid haymakers at all costs. It is cancer. Don't use it. Don't ever use it. It's just not worth it. Use your Scorcher, your Flamethrower in Horde, and Escape. Play very aggressive with your tackles, but play calculated as well. Play very methodical. Analyze the battlefield. Take time to study what's going on, where everybody's at. Again, it's one of those classes that you do not want to put yourself at risk. You do not want to get down in the middle of the playing field. That way, it makes it easier for teammates to come and grab you. So that's really all there is to it with the Brawler. It's a very straightforward class. Like I said, it's easy to get into. If you just picked up this game, if this is your first experience playing Gears of War, Brawler is going to be such a great class for you to start with. It'll really set the pace for your progression in this game. If you're a completionist like myself, then you'll eventually want to level up all of your classes, which is going to take you a very long time. Hence why you want to start with such a good class that you're going to enjoy right out of the starting gate. Because if you start with somebody like Architect, you're going to get a very bad impression of how the progression is in this game, and you might not enjoy it. So that's my only regret with starting with the engineers in this series, is the fact that I probably gave off the impression that they are fun, and I don't think they're fun. I really don't. It felt like a chore leveling them up. But some people like that. Some people like to be supportive and repair fortifications and do all this busy work. And if you feel that way, God bless you. I mean, this community needs players like you. That way players like myself can exist, because Brawler is where I feel at home. I feel comfortable in that class. I feel like that's my favorite thing in video games, especially ones with role-playing elements, is playing a hard DPS class. A glass cannon that can just get in there and do truckloads of damage and come out unscathed if you have enough skill. So Brawler is definitely that way. Every class period is going to go down quick in Master. So it's just a matter of knowing when to take a shot and when to take an opportunity. And I'm not gonna lie, guys, I go down a lot. I really do. And I feel like good players are also gonna go down a lot. It's not about going down. You can't have a perfect game, right, where you never go down. It's gonna happen. You just gotta welcome it and not to get upset about it. Learn from your mistakes, because there's a lot of bullshit in this game. It's not perfect, and with that being said, I believe that I will be eventually releasing a critique video on Gears of War, but I want to know in the comments section and in a poll if you guys would like to see the critique video sooner rather than later. I was thinking about doing it after the God Build series, but I kind of feel like if you're going to be doing these classes and leveling them up, you really need the critique video beforehand. That way you're aware of the bugs and the glitches and things that just overall shouldn't happen, things that need to be buffed, things that need to be nerfed. If you're aware of those things, then you can kind of gauge your experience and play and adapt pretty well. So yeah, sound off in the comment section. Let me know what you thought of this video. I hope that it helped you in some way. I hope that you get into this game with a fresh take on how to play these classes and how to have fun with them. So do as I always recommend that you do. Like, comment, share, subscribe. Ring that bell icon. That way you can be up to date with every upload I put on here. And guys, please, I do a lot more than gaming guide videos. I do this little playlist called Speed Paints, and that is all my own original characters. Not all of them, but most of them are all my own original characters from my own writing. And I would super appreciate it if you could go and check that out. Give me some comments, some feedback, some critique, whatever you want to post in the comment section. I'm always open to it. I wake up with death threats with my coffee, so it's fine. I've got thick skin. I can take it. I'm asking for it. So thank you so much for hanging around and watching my video. And as I've just started recently saying, you can't advance without Vance. So until next time, this has been Vance, signing out. Peace.